When I think about my involvement in the community, the first thing that comes to mind, specifically when I think about bettering or advancing women in the community, the first thing that comes to mind is my involvement with the Athena Circle of Trust. And that is a group of emerging leaders in the Erie area, and we participate in a regular kind of peer-to-peer mentoring group, and we help each other with professional issues, feedback, advice, and personal issues as well. And it's been really wonderful to have that group of women just to kind of bounce ideas off of. This year specifically, I was made co-chair of the group, and so that's given me the opportunity to reach into the community further to actually younger generations of women and allow our group to share our expertise and experiences with those younger women. What gives me great joy? So first and foremost, I think just the involvement that I've had with a variety of organizations in the community that do impact women. So ACT, as I mentioned, the Athena Circle of Trust is one of those, but also my involvement with the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk with the American Cancer Society, and also my involvement with the Pink Zone breast cancer awareness basketball game at Gannon. And just the opportunity to really get into the community with a cause that I care very deeply about. My mother had breast cancer when I was 10, passed actually from cancer, ovarian cancer, just a couple of years ago. So being able to make an impact on those cancer patients, their families, is just a completely indescribable experience. It's really, really wonderful. It was really, really tough to see my mom and the rest of my family even to go through that. But really, when I reflect on it now, it was a really amazing experience for several reasons. But first and foremost, just the outpouring of support that we got from our friends and family from the community, both here in Erie where I live and in Meadville where my mom was living at the time, was truly incredible. So through Making Strides and through Pink Zone, I'm able to essentially repay that. And that's been kind of my mission moving forward with both of those organizations. So I've been really fortunate to have a lot of mentors throughout my career, starting the earliest, I guess, mentor in my career was Kathy Von Bergelen through the eMarketing Learning Center. It was one of my very first internships, and she always stressed to me the importance of networking and building your circle and essentially getting this group of people behind you to have your back. More recently, though, I've been able to find mentors in my peers through the Athena Circle of Trust. So actually a couple of years ago when I joined, we had a retreat, and that retreat was led by a woman named Carson Ruperto, who now lives in Pittsburgh. And she gave me a really interesting piece of, at the time it was really just a question, but it sort of turned into a piece of advice. And she said, think about what your friends and family will say about you at your funeral. Which sounds a little morbid, right, when you first think about it, but the timing could not have been more perfect. 3 months before that was when I lost my mom, and so I just immediately thought of all the things that people were saying to me about her at her funeral, and just what a wonderful woman she was, and how dedicated to her work and her community and her church, and it was just, incredible to hear all these things about her. And that, when Carson asked that question, it just really got me thinking, what would people say about me? And so that's been a piece of advice that I've really taken moving forward, in that, what are people going to say about how I respond to this situation, or my behavior, or how I interact in the community? And so that I've really taken that advice to heart. There are 3 pieces of advice, really, that I would like to share with women, with the community in general. The first of those was actually in a conversation I had last week with a client of mine. She said, commit to being uncomfortable. And I love the way that she worded that, because it's so true. You think about all these situations you're faced with, and the ones that are comfortable are really easy, and you maybe don't necessarily learn as much as if you're making yourself uncomfortable. You're stepping outside that comfort zone. So that's the first piece. Second piece would be to surround yourself with the right people. And that's something that I've been very fortunate in my life to be able to do. Friends, family members, coworkers, my network, as we've been talking about, really important to me to be able to have that support system, that network, that group of people that I can count on for absolutely anything, and I know that I will be able to reciprocate that as well. And then the third piece is, it sounds a little cheesy, but after my experience with my mom, it could not be more true for me, and that's live your life to the fullest.